believes I can't sleep.
It's time to listen to Courtney at last on the Ramblings of an Insomniac podcast.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. Hello. It's been a while. Gosh, I think it's been over a month, maybe a month. It's weird because I don't even check. Sorry, guys. I got kind of sick for like a week and a half, and that kind of put me out. And then I was at a convention, a grooming and boarding convention in Vegas. That was not intended. That's just where it was. And I was busy with that. And then I had to make up some hours. So I was working a lot of extra hours, and I have just been oh, shoot. Sorry, I'm throwing the ball for my dogs as I always do. For some reason, I always want to do my podcasts at night because I want people to hear the crickets and the owls and the coyotes and just, the night sounds that are far more peaceful than me yelling at my dogs during a podcast. That's never what you guys want to hear. I'm sure you don't tune in to hear me looking for my dogs and, throwing the ball for them, hearing them panting in the background. That's always exciting. So, but for whatever reason, I always think I'm going to do them at night because I'm awake, and I'm always awake, hence Ramblings of an Insomniac. I mean, if I slept a lot, I probably shouldn't call myself an insomniac. But then I start to get ready to do one, and then I'm like, well, now I'm getting tired, and I probably shouldn't try to stay awake if I'm tired, or I just really am not with it at all. Not that clearly I'm not with it during the day either. I mean, that's for sure. There's really not a big difference, but I feel like I'm more out of it at night for some reason lately. So I haven't been doing them, but I need to. Anyway, that said, how the heck are you guys? Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it so very much. Thank you. It means a lot that people have tuned in once, twice, every time. It just means a lot. Thank you. And people from other countries are listening, which is amazing. That's so cool. In fact, Singapore, I've been getting a lot of people, or maybe it's just one person, I'm not sure, from Singapore. And that is just super cool. So thank you guys so much. I'm saying the word so a lot. So. All right. So what has been keeping me up? See, there I am again. If it were a drinking game and you had to drink every time I said the word so, you guys would already be well on your way to a good time or throwing up, whatever. So that's a good segue into, I mentioned that I went to Vegas. And I'm not a drinker, nor do I gamble, but there are plenty of other things to do. I was there to get CPR and first aid certified dog CPR and dog first aid certified with one of my coworkers. So we went there, and let me tell you, you do not have to drink or gamble to have fun in Vegas, but it was 107 degrees. It was between 105 and 107. We were there for 5 days, 4 nights. Never got below 105. And I am a pasty Swedish girl. We don't handle the sun that well. So I had to just completely lather myself with sunscreen. But there was a day that we walked, I kid you not, probably 15 miles, and like easily, actually. And it was out in 106 degree weather, and we kept trying to like dip into the casinos because there was air conditioning. So, and also because I couldn't have the sun beating on me and I'd forgotten the sunscreen. So I totally forgot to bring, I brought the sunscreen on vacation, like I had it, but I left it in the hotel and I didn't have it on me. And I'd put some on before I left, but I didn't have it like in my purse or in a bag or anything like that. And so Gwen, come on, Gwenny. See, that's what I'm talking about. You guys get to listen to me. Gwendolyn, leave it. Good girl. So I didn't have it on me, and here I am out in 106-degree weather. And water bottles, by the way, there, if you want a bottle of water on the strip, holy forking shirt balls. Swear to you, it was $4 for a bottle of water. And I was like, well, Jesus, that's insane, but I need water. Or, the combination of the 106-degree sun beating down on me and us walking a million miles and then not having water was just a bad combo. So we went in and we got some water. And point being, by the end of the day, I thought I was going to turn into a lobster, but surprisingly, somehow I did not burn. Somehow my other heritage, I don't know what other heritage I have. I guess I have I do, but they're all pasty white people. But I have a skosh, a smidge of Native American, and a smidge of German. I don't know. Do you guys burn? I'm sure you do. That's a stupid thing to ask, I know. But you guys have that like olive kind of skin. So probably you burn like anybody else in the world, but easily? I don't know. So point is, I was kind of proud because I somehow not only didn't burn, but the dry heat totally made me feel so much better. I had a severe sinus infection for like a week and a half that made me like so dizzy that I was feeling like I was going to throw up. It was weird. And when I went to Nevada, it just cleared everything up and I felt great other than feeling like I was in the hubs of hell because it was so hot. But here is the good side to all of that. So we went, and you don't have to drink and you don't have to gamble. You could, we found, I had never, ever been to Fremont. I did not do the Fremont Experience. I've never done the Fremont Experience. And my coworker on our very last night there was like, we'd been out on that day, the day that was really hot. And I was feeling, I had a point to bringing all that up. There was a point. I always get back there. I may, totally digress, but it comes back around. So my point to telling you about that story about that day, I was starting to get cranky. It was our last night there. We needed to find a FedEx place because we had got all of this stuff from Super Zoo, and Super Zoo is a grooming and boarding type convention that they have every year in Vegas at the Mandalay Bay. And so we had been there all day, and at this point we'd already been walking, like I said, honestly, like 15 miles, and I was hot and I was thirsty, and water cost $1 million, and I couldn't just keep buying water. And so we had done all these things, and our plan originally was to go to our hotel and just like lay by the pool, and our hotel had like a lazy river. So we were just going to chill because we had to get up really early the next day to catch a plane. But my coworker, the entire time we were there, kept talking about the Fremont Experience. And in my head, I thought it was like where the Golden Nugget was, and it was just like where a bunch of like elderly people hung out in Vegas and used, it was like the rundown, gross part of Vegas, and it was just a bunch of older people hanging out. And I'm like, that does not sound fun. But she really had been talking about how she had such a good time when she did it before. And it was our last night, and she really wanted to go. And she'd been talking about it the whole time we were there. So I was like, all right, I'll make a deal. I want to go to the lazy river for a bit, kind of chill out, get something to eat because I was getting hangry. Plus I was burnt, not really burnt, just I got burnt, turned into a tan, but and thirsty and all these things and tired. And so I was like, fine. And again, in my head, I'm like, this is just going to be dumb. But I wanted to support her, and I wanted to do what she wanted to do because it wasn't just about me, and I'm not a narcissist. So I was like, all right, cool. So let me tell you, if you have not done the Fremont Experience, you should 100% go because it was totally different than I thought. And it was so much fun. And I ended up, in fact, you can look on my YouTube page, The Ramblings of an Insomniac. You can look on my Clapper, Ramblings of an Insomniac. And You can look on my Facebook page. I posted a video. So my phone kept dying in Vegas because it was 10 billion degrees, so it wasn't holding a charge. And every time I would charge it, it would just get dead. So when my friend let me borrow my coworker let me borrow her phone and do I did a couple quick videos. But let me tell you, the Fremont Experience, if you haven't done it, get your butt down there. I didn't even drink. You can even see in the video, I have a bottle of water. And we danced our butts off. I've always loved to dance. I have always just loved it. I just have so much fun when I dance. And the Fremont Experience is cool because there's people zip lining above you. There's like these screens that play videos above you. They have bands there. And we just happened to be there when there was a band that played 80s cover stuff, 80s and 90s. And then this other band played 90s and early 2000s. And holy shit, they were really good. Super fun to dance to. Bonnie, go this way. Super fun to dance to. And we danced. I haven't been dancing in like 25 years. For real, no joke. I danced like I was 20 again. And everybody there was like dancing. There's, like I said, zip lining. There's, of course, these weird sideshows. They have to stay in their circle. They have these circles that they have to stay in, unlike when you're on the strip. In the strip, they can go wherever and they can harass you and bug you, but they have to stay in like their little circle. But it amazes me, though, that people bring their kids, their very young kids, to Fremont. And there was this kid there that was probably 6 or 7, I would say, that was very clearly a boy dressed in a lace. He was dressed like Wednesday on the Addams Family. And he would dance with all these adults. Like we were all dancing and there'd be all these bands everywhere and people would be dancing. And he'd be like in the middle of these adults dancing. And I'm like, where are your parents? And I would look and the dad would be quite a ways away and just kind of giving him his space and allowing him to do this. And I thought it was kind of odd because there's also like people dressed with like just little things covering their nipples, and they have whips and chains and they have G-strings on, and there's people drunk and people are, carrying drinks around, and yet people bring their children. And you could tell that this kid probably kind of almost lived in Vegas and that this was something that his dad wanted to do. So then he just brought his kid along. You could just tell, you just got that vibe that this kid was basically raised on the strip and at the Fremont, which was pretty sad. But man, I had a good time. You could see the video. I danced forever, and we didn't get back to our hotel until 2. And then we proceeded to get something to eat at Denny's, and we didn't go to sleep until 3, and then woke up at 6 to be able to, no, it was like 6:30, to be able to get our bus by 7 and get to the airport by 9. So yeah, it was a good time though. It was so much fun. If you have not done the Fremont Experience, check out on YouTube or Clapper or my Facebook page and just look it up. It's great. It's fun if you like to dance. We just had the best time ever. So that's one thing I've been busy. Oh, you found a ball. God, my dogs go through tennis balls like crazy. I swear to you, we go through like 5 tennis balls a day. It's insane. I put them up. I hide them. Somehow they find them. Anyway, so Vegas, we went there, though. It was very interesting. We went to no, guys, get over here. My dogs are escaping to my neighbor's yard. Get over here. Come on, guys. Mo. Oh, my gosh. So my dogs just went over to my neighbor's property. And now my biggest dog is acting like he can't get back. He got through to the other side, and now he's acting like getting back is totally different. It's the same thing. And so now he's acting like he's stuck and we're leaving him. Mo, come on. This is how you got through. So now he's just standing there like, whoa, you're leaving me. I'm like, you just walked over to the other side. This is the way that you did it. Why can't you come back through? Come on. Anyway. Oh my goodness. I just spent the last like 15 minutes trying to convince my dog that the way that he went through to get to my neighbor's property is the very same way that he can get back. But he did not believe me, and he kept trying to, he was just standing there with his head hanging to the ground, looking at me like I was a creep. Gwen, no, like I was a creep. and would not come over here. And I would get one dog together and another one would take off. It's like that meme of when you get all your ducks in the row, but like they're drunk and you finally get one duck in the row and the other one goes off, and you get another duck and the other one goes off, and you're just always trying to like keep your ducks in a row. Anyway, or that boy, actually the epitome of my life is that meme of that little boy who was like in an outhouse, and he's got his pants down to like his knees and his little butt's hanging out, and he's chasing this roll of toilet paper that's going downhill while his butt is hanging out. That is the epitome of my life with these dogs. And in general, I swear. But I chose to have the dogs. I'm not complaining. It's my life. I chose it. I love them. They are great. They have just been over the top crazy lately. I don't know what their deal is. It's not a full moon. They've been getting plenty of mental and physical exercise. Lord knows they get a boatload of attention. They get fed. They have a warm house. They've been prima donnas. They have been watching this generation. They've been watching too much social media and seeing how ungrateful and crappy kids are nowadays. And they're like, what? Did you guys see? Sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm out of breath. Been walking up our hill. Did you guys see the video of the girl that got a BMW? A very nice SUV BMW. Paid off. It's hers. She doesn't owe anything. And she's mad that it's not a Tesla. She's not happy. She's not thankful. She's not grateful. She doesn't give a crap that her parents could have bought themselves a car or paid bills, or that she would have to take a bus or get rides. No. She's mad that it's not a Tesla. It's a bleeping BMW. A very nice one, by the way. Doesn't have dents on it, anything like that. Very nice. And she's butthurt and upset that it's not a Tesla. If I were those parents, I would have driven that car myself. It would have been my car. Her ass would be riding a bus or walking. What a little snatch. God, kids nowadays, I just want to flick them all in their stupid faces. I really do. They're unbelievably rude. And it's not their fault. It is not their fault. Dogs nowadays have become jerks and, go after people and bite their own owners and chew up things. And, it's like, and dogs are overweight. And it's sad because people don't realize that dogs are like humans in the sense that if they're overweight, their muscles hurt. They get arthritis. It's a lot on their back. They get diabetes. They get all kinds of problems. It's not good for them. And when they don't get disciplined, they start thinking that they're in charge. And you don't want a dog that can bite you, that can harm you or harm your friends or family, to think that they're in charge. Just like you don't want your kids to think they're in charge. I don't know why people are so against discipline nowadays. When did discipline get equated to abuse? Abuse and discipline are two very, very different things. In fact, I think it's abusive not to discipline your children. You are neglectful if you are not disciplining your children or your animals. And again, discipline doesn't have to mean that you're hurting them. In fact, it doesn't mean that. Discipline does not mean that you are harming your child or that you're doing something bad. We've seen the results of what happens when you don't discipline your children or your dogs. Everybody else has to deal with your shitty kids and your rude dogs. And that's not fair. You deal with your shit kids. Don't take them to school and daycare and to your parents because you don't want to deal with your own crappy kids. Imagine what we feel like. If you don't even want to be around your own children, imagine how others feel. If you don't want to be around your own dog, imagine how others feel. And it's not the dog's or the child's fault. Clearly, we think that giving a dog or a child everything that they want and overfeeding them somehow equates to love. And I say the opposite. If you are neglecting, which is what you're doing, you're neglecting your dog and you're neglecting your child if you aren't disciplining them. And if you are overfeeding them, that's neglect. Because again, now you're causing them major heart issues, diabetes, liver and kidney issues. You're causing them to have arthritis and sore joints and back problems. And it's just not fair. But so because we went to this convention and I got CPR certified and all that, dogs have been on my brain. And I've mentioned that I've been looking for property to open up a dog rescue. And it's been difficult because most of the property that we find is way out of, it's way out in the country, which is what I want very much. The problem is you can't get power out there, so you'd have to live off grid. By the time that a fire department got out there, the place would be burnt down. By the time the paramedics got out there, somebody would be dead. And water, I don't know how we would do water unless there was a well or a spring, but I can't really have a well. I heard there's a lot of like shared wells and stuff, depending on where you're out in the country. And if I'm going to have a dog rescue, I need access to water, especially if I'm kind of responsible for any fires and stuff. But I can't really live off grid with a dog rescue. It doesn't work. So it's been a little difficult, but there's so many people that come to us and say, hey, I, no longer can have my dog anymore. Can you, see if anybody wants a dog? And it's almost always like huskies. And that's frustrating because huskies and shepherds and pits are like the dogs that nobody ends up wanting because they don't do their research and they don't do their homework. Oh my gosh, I've had to pause this podcast so many times because my dogs are just being relentless today. Gosh, speaking of discipline, speaking of unruly dogs that other people don't want to deal with, mine do get discipline and they're just being buttheads yesterday and today. So this is what I get when I do my podcast the way I do, is that I'll be talking to you guys and I already digress and I already totally am like squirrel and get on 1,000 different topics. But you have to admit, I do always end up coming back around. I do end up, kind of making the whole thing work. I just do a lot of back roads. We just take the back roads, but we get there. It's the scenic route, but we get there. But so there's a lot of pauses and probably a lot of times that I'm like forgetting what I was talking about. And then I'll pause it to go deal with something. And then I'm like, crap, what was I talking about? It's been like 20 minutes. It may say that my podcasts are like 36 minutes long. And usually on my end, it's like an hour and a half to get that 36 minutes, but not just because my dogs, I just mean because in general stuff gets in the way. This is why I need to be doing this in my home, in my office, and then I can post it on YouTube and people can see it on YouTube and I can get more traction. I should do that. And I mean, I do social media, so obviously people see my face. I don't know, again, it's just so difficult for me to sit down and do this podcast because it's not like I'm interviewing somebody. If I were interviewing somebody, I would love to sit down. I wouldn't be moving around, of course, because I'd be obnoxious as the person that's getting interviewed, as the interviewee, to have me, moving around and stuff. But I'm not interviewing anybody. And so it's hard for me to just sit down and talk into a microphone. Like it makes me crazy. And then I have to time it around when people are in the house or not. And it's a whole thing. So I do need to get on YouTube. Definitely. I have a YouTube channel. My podcast just isn't on it. But I have it on Facebook. So, and on Instagram, I just need to get a bigger platform and I need to get out there more often. I really need to be posted on YouTube. But at any rate, again, I digress. Dogs, people don't need to equate discipline with something bad. Timeouts aren't bad. Putting your dog in a kennel is not bad. Making your dog sit before they eat is not bad. Making your dog sit before they go outside is not bad. Making them not jump on the furniture or jump on people is not bad. So we were at Super Zoo in Vegas and we got CPR certified. The class was all day long, but the instructors were awesome. There are people from all over. It was our very first convention, but there are people that had been to all of them. I can't remember how many there's been. I think it's like 6 or something like that. So it's fairly new. But we learned a lot. It was great. And I had a great time again, even though God, even if I did drink, I mean, I admit I had probably in the 5 days I was there, I had like 4 or 5 drinks, and I normally don't drink at all, so that's a lot for me. But they were like $22 bleeping dollars, $22 frickin' dollars for a drink. And a couple of them though were very, very strong, so that was lovely. If I'm going to spend that much money, I mean, then better be a good one. But I haven't been to Vegas in a long time. I know that the Mirage is closed. They've got some things torn down. I can't imagine living in Vegas. What a weird. We asked all of our Uber drivers about living there and stuff, and I guess it's pretty expensive. It was weird because some people we talked to, like we talked to Jose, he was hilarious. He's from Mexico originally, but he's lived in Vegas for like 20 years. And he was laughing because he said that because I was like, gosh, is it expensive to live here? It seems like it'd be spendy. And he said, no, Americans are finally just doing what Mexicans have been doing forever. They're finally taking a lesson from Mexicans, and they're just stacking people in their house like on top of each other. He's like, there's like 8 people living in a house, just like the Mexicans have always done it. You Americans are finally catching on. And of course, he was just joking and you know, not trying to mean anything offensive toward Americans, but we were dying. And then and I said, well, I'm going to move to Mexico. I've been looking at property at Mexico. And he's like, we're going to build a wall. Mexico's going to build a wall to keep the Americans out, because now all the Americans are moving to Mexico and all the Mexicans are moving to Americans. He's like, we're going to build a wall. And again, he was just joking, but we had a great time. But he was saying that it was really expensive to live on the outskirts of Vegas. But then our bus driver said, nah, he has a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's not a shithole or anything, but it's not super nice, but it's not like garbage. And he only pays $700. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I could live in Nevada. I don't know about that. I looked at property just for fun, because again, I want to do a dog rescue and I want property. So I thought, well, gosh, Nevada's probably cheap, but I have to be able to have air conditioning, and I have to be able to make sure, I guess the dogs would just go out in the fall and spring, I suppose, and we'd stay inside in the summer. I don't know how they said winters there do get pretty cold, like in the 30s. So, I've been looking at property, looking at Wyoming, looking at Montana, Arizona, because I thought it'd all be cheap. Wyoming, Montana is very cheap, but again, you have to make sure that you can get a septic or you can get a well. You have to make sure that you don't have to share that well with others. You have to make sure that you can have the fire department out there and power. And those things are hard to find. So we shall see. I wish Oregon wasn't so stinking expensive and liberal, because Oregon has it going on. I mean, God, we've got mountains, we've got valleys, we have rivers, we have ocean, we have desert. It's green. It's just has a ridiculous liberal. I mean, again, I don't care if you're a liberal. I don't care at all if you're a liberal. I don't care if you're the most left liberal ever. Just be a liberal and don't try to cram it down everybody else's throat. Don't be a porn star and try to cram your liberal attitudes down people's throats like a blowjob. Okay. Like it's your dick and you're trying to desperately get your dick sucked. Like, come on. It's ridiculous. You can have your opinions, you can wear your shirts, you can have your parade, but you don't need to force everybody else to participate and watch and like it. And that's what Oregon does. And, but God is beautiful. We don't have the tornadoes. We don't have hurricanes. I mean, we have fires. If you live on the coast, you have the potential of a tsunami, but let's face it, that's not something that happens all the time. They have to worry about constantly. I mean, earthquakes and fires, I guess that's what you have. Other places have like sinkholes and hurricanes and tornadoes. Tornadoes, how do you get used to a tornado? We looked at places in Oklahoma and stuff, and I was like, first of all, too flat. Secondly, tornadoes. And people just act like it's no big deal. How do you get used to that? It's insane. So we'll see. I want the dog rescue. I'm going to do it. I'm just not sure exactly where. All right. So we covered Vegas and the Super Zoo convention. So what else has been keeping me up? Kamala Harris. Oh, Kamala. Kamala, Lama, 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 the chameleon. She's a chameleon. She doesn't know. She doesn't know shit. She knows nothing. That woman cannot form a sentence, just like Biden. That's why her and Biden were the perfect couple, because neither of them know anything about anything. Neither of them can form sentences. They are both oblivious and they can both be paid off. They are both liars. They are both hypocrites. They can both be bought and paid for. Kamala slept her way to the top. She also must give great BJs because that's how she got to the top. She probably has some dirt on people. God knows. But first of all, a bunch of people that supposedly believe in democracy are totally okay now with Kamala running for president and not being voted on. She's not being voted. She wasn't voted on to do so. She just decided. They just decided that for you. And that doesn't annoy you. And then the woman is talking about the border and how much she's going to do for the border when she's had 4 years. What the hell has she been doing for the past 4 years? People act like Kamala is a new person that's never been around. People act like Kamala is just some person that suddenly was beamed down from an alien spaceship and no one's ever heard of her. Do they forget that she's had 4 years to try to keep the border was fine when Trump was in office. We were in the middle of building a wall. Now, all of a sudden, Kamala's like, wow, the border is out of control. People are pouring in. Really? Yes, because you allowed it, because you were pro illegal immigrants. You wanted the sex traffickers. You wanted the fentanyl. You wanted the terrorists. You wanted the murderers and the rapists. And you wanted the cartel because you thought, and you think still, that they'll vote for you. And you believe in population control. And you want the majority of us dead, just like Bill Gates, just like Big Farm. I feel like the Hunger Games. I feel like it's the frickin' Hunger Games, and we're all going to be out trying to keep ourselves alive by like doing these weird games that the government has set up. Or I feel like it's the Truman Show, and I'm hoping to God that it is, and that we've all just been in like Jim Carrey's version of Truman Show, and they're all going to be like, psych, just kidding. We've been taping you this whole time and doing some weird experiment. Or waiting for Ashton Kutcher to like be doing the longest punk of his life and be like, it's the long punk. Just joking. This has all been a big joke because things have gotten that weird. Things have gotten so unbelievably ridiculous that I don't see how it can possibly be reality. I don't see how in the UK a person can go to jail for 20 months, almost 2 years, because they supposedly offended people online. First of all, you can't, since when can you go to jail for offending people? Being offended is subjective. It's totally subjective. I can be offended by something totally different than somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. We all get offended by different things. How is that illegal? So this judge who's wearing a wig like a fucking dumb shit, like he's in the fucking 1600s, the 1800s, whatever, wearing a wig. And then talking about him as if he was a terrorist that just went in and shot up a bunch of people. He offended people? Who the fuck cares? Who cares? His fucking wig offends me. His robe offends me. His face offends me. So should he go to jail? Meanwhile, pedophiles, rapists, people that have had 3 DUIs and drive around drunk with the potential of killing people or themselves all the time, could possibly kill people. Murderers, or not murderers, excuse me, but rapists, pedophiles, they hardly ever go to prison for 20 years. They usually get out on probation. They get out and they're on probation usually. They rarely do 20 months. I said years, I meant months. Months, that's almost 2 years. That's fucking ridiculous. And then I heard about in Paris, the telegram guy, He's not allowed to give out where they are. That's his entire thing. He cannot give up locations or let them in the back door because the whole thing is supposed to be secure. And now, so Paris is just a piece of garbage. I don't know who France thinks they are, because without America, France would be absolutely nothing. I've said this 100 times, and I know there are people from France that listen to me, but I'm sorry. Your government is insane. If you listen to me and you're from France, then you know it, because you're probably going to be offended if you love your country, because I rip on France all the time because it's ridiculous. The Olympics allowing men to beat on women, horrible. Absolutely horrible. And now putting the guy with the telegram in prison, horrible. You guys are useless without America. You start shit with people, and then you hide behind America, and you want our money and you want our military. And you're like, America sucks. We fucking hate America. You guys are all pieces of shit. Down with America. Down with America. We'll put you all in jail. I dare the UK, and the UK does it too. They talk about how much they hate America. I hate America. America is just terrible. But you know what? Again, UK, another country that cannot survive without us. You guys are nothing without us. You need our military and you need our help all the time. All the time. You guys can't win anything without us, and it's been proven. Like, there's facts and upon facts that prove that you guys can't do shit without us. And yet, somehow, both the UK and France has been like, by the way, if you guys come to our country and you say anything we don't like, we're throwing you in jail. Ha, I dare you to. I fucking dare you, especially if Trump is in office. I dare you to put an American citizen in your jail because they supposedly put a meme up that offended you. Let's see how that works out for you, because I promise you, if Trump is in office, he's going to be like, fuck you, we'll cut you off. We will just cut you off. No more military help. No more hiding behind us. No more asking for our help. No more needing our money. We'll just cut you off. That's how that's going to bode for France or for UK or any country for that matter. Hell, Trump was the one that was like, by the way, if these hostages aren't released by the time that I'm in office, there's going to be hell. They better be released. Trump made it very clear that the hostages better be fucking released by the time that he's in office or else. And you know what? Every fucking country knows that he means it. People don't fuck with Trump because he means it. And again, that's not being a bully. That's not being a bad guy. That's not being a tyrant. You have to, again, I'm going to go back to dogs and go back to animals and go back to children. Horses and dogs they have to have a pack leader. They have to have someone to guide them and be in charge so that they don't just willy-nilly do whatever they want. They need a leader. And they need someone that knows what the fuck they're doing, or can at least, at the very least, fake that they know what they're doing. That has the confidence, and at least, even if it's fake. So when you're the leader of a powerful country, you have to be a peacock. You have to say, this is how it's going to be. I don't fuck around. I dare you to fuck with me. And then if they do, you follow through on what you say. You do exactly what you say you're going to do, so that they know that you're not messing around and that you can't push them around, and that no does mean no. With Biden, they knew that no doesn't mean no. With Kamala, they know that she can be bought with sex or money. She's like a whore. She's a hooker. She's stupid, and she just apparently will sleep and do whatever it takes. She can be bought and paid for. She's a cheap hooker, a dumb cheap hooker. Now, if I were in the UK or France, I'd probably go to prison. And in fact, if Kamala and Biden or the Dems have anything to do with it, I probably will be in prison, because they will censor me. They will take away my rights, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take away our rights for guns, and they're trying to take away, because they don't want us to protect ourselves. They want us to be stupid, and they want us to have nothing to be able to protect ourselves with. And people like Bill Gates and Big Pharma and the government want population control. That's why they believe in abortion. That's why they believe in selling body parts of babies on the black market, ripping the baby's arms off, ripping the baby's legs off while they're in the uterus, to go sell them on the black market. And that is why liberals are all for murdering babies. But yet, if they're pregnant and they have a miscarriage, they cry about it and they mourn the loss of that baby. But I don't see how you can do that when the entire time you've been crying how it's not a baby. It's not a baby. And you can have an abortion up until a week before the baby is due, when it's completely, fully has ears and a brain and a heart and lungs and is about ready to be a baby. You say, no, it's okay to murder that baby. And it is murder. And you need to admit that it's murder. You don't get to say it's not a baby. And then if you're pregnant and you have a miscarriage, cry about it. Because according to you, it's not a baby. So again, the libs and the Dems like to be hypocritical and take both sides. They don't believe in a border, a wall. They don't believe in a wall, but they do believe in locking their doors, locking their windows, shutting their doors, shutting their windows, putting up fences, maybe having security cameras. If you're a celebrity, you have bodyguards with guns, even though you don't believe in guns, but you have bodyguards with guns. They probably own guns. They have a big old wall and gates around their property. They have cameras, they have security, but they totally believe in letting terrorists and rapists in. Libs believe in they don't like children because, again, they love abortions. They think it's great. And they believe in giving hormones to minors whose hormones already, their current hormones that they have, are already all crazy and going nuts and all over the place and trying to balance themselves out. They're all unbalanced. So then you want to throw more crap into their body that's irreversible and causes massive long-term effects. And they are minors, and they don't get to make that decision, just like they don't make the decision to drink and to get a tattoo and to buy cigarettes and vote and be in the military because they're too young. They think that they are princesses and cowboys and unicorns and birds and dogs. So you don't let that train of thought when it's an undeveloped brain with hormones already going through it. You don't put more hormones in it, and nor do you cut off their body parts. You don't cut off penises. You don't completely dismember children, minors. But that's what the libs are about. They're about killing. That's why they go around hurting 80-year-old men that wear MAGA hats. That's why they go around beating up people, because they have a difference of opinion. They keep out Jewish people that were trying to go to school, a school that they paid for, a school that they pay tuition for, a school that they're enrolled in, a public school. And somehow these pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist, pro-Palestine people are going around from the river to the sea. What the fuck river to the sea are you talking about? What are you talking about, you ignorant jackass, you hypocritical jackass? You're sitting here forming a human chain to keep Jewish people out as you're sitting here talking about love and peace. And then you're calling Donald Trump Hitler, even though you're keeping Jewish people out and you're pro-terrorism. But you're talking about Trump being Hitler, as you're actively keeping Jewish people and pushing around Jewish people and bullying Jewish people, but you're calling Trump Hitler? Are you kidding me? So this is somehow our reality now. This is somehow our world. And I keep hoping to God that I wake up and it changes. But yet people now that Kamala is running, all the people that weren't going to vote for Biden anymore, the people that finally saw Biden and were like, wow, we finally realized that he has dementia. A lot of them were going to vote for Trump. They didn't want to. They really didn't want to, but they were going to do it. Well, now Kamala comes around, and all of a sudden they've forgotten that Kamala is exactly like Biden because she's been the vice president for 4 years, and it has been her making these decisions. And suddenly people are forgetting all of that and acting like she's this new person, and now they're going back to voting for her. So I'm hoping to God that now that Robert Kennedy has endorsed Trump, I'm hoping that some of those people that were Biden and then Kamala will now be like, oh, yeah, Kamala is pretty crazy. Maybe we'll go over for Trump because he has RFK. The problem is if media would just do their actual jobs and just be fair. I don't mean, because it says there was a poll where Trump only got 11% of coverage. 11% of coverage And out of that 11%, like none of it was positive. None of it was accurate. It was all fake news, lies, and misinformation. Kamala, however, was at like 89% of media coverage, and Biden, and it was all positive. How is that fair? Even if they just had 50-50 coverage where they showed and they had to make Kamala should have to do a debate every single week from now until November. She should have to answer questions. She's going to be the leader of our country. And people are like, I'm going to vote for her because she's Indian and she's a woman, just like Hillary. I'm going to vote for Hillary because she's a woman. What the fuck does gender have to do with anything when it comes to running the presidency, when it comes to running the country? Gender doesn't have anything to do with it. And I'm tired of people wanting to vote for people just because of their gender or who they put their penis in or, what they do with their vaginas. What does that have to do with running a country? Absolutely nothing. Nothing whatsoever. But our country has gone so batshit crazy, and Australia and Canada and the UK and France has lost their ever-living minds, and it just keeps going and going. And China and Russia are just like, ha, 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 ha. We started all this shit. It started with COVID, and it started with fucking George Floyd. Fuck you, George Floyd. Seriously. You were a piece of shit human. Sorry that you were addicted, but you were a piece of shit human. You were not a hero. You didn't do anything good. You didn't contribute shit. You are not someone that people should be looking up to. And the fact that people think that we should be looking up to George Floyd is ridiculous. The way he died was a shame. Not saying that the cops were okay. Not saying that they did what they did was okay. It was not. But the guy already had fentanyl in his system, already had breathing problems, and maybe he shouldn't commit crimes and maybe he should have listened to the cop when the cop told him to get the fuck down. Maybe if a cop tells you not to come at them, you shouldn't come at them. Maybe you should listen to cops. Again, not saying what the cops did were right. It wasn't. But George Floyd was not a good person. And the fact that people like to pretend like it, and then COVID happened. And we all know that COVID was a made up thing. It was made up in the lab and then spread upon America to fuck us all up and do exactly what it did, to ruin our economy, to ruin small businesses, to tear us all apart, to divide us. And then you throw George Floyd in there. And you throw mandatory vaccinations. And you throw pulling people, our troops out of the Middle East and causing all kinds of shit show with that. You throw in it being okay for men to be in women's sports, for children to be getting porn in libraries, minor children to be getting porn in school libraries, for parents to be kept in the dark, and for teachers and counselors to go ahead and prescribe medications and to allow them to take hormones or to talk about getting a sex change but not tell their parents. It's gotten out of control and it's scary. And I can't believe that people would even think about voting for Harris. And then yet every single time someone's asked why did you like Biden? Why did you support Biden? Why would you continue to support Biden? They got nothing. They don't know what they're talking about. They can't even give you not literally one example of a policy that they like. And Kamala hasn't even talked about her policies. We just know what they are because she's been doing it for 4 years. And yet she doesn't talk about her policies. And when you ask if you like why you like Harris, people are like, well, she's a woman and she's Indian and, just happy times, man. Good vibes, man. Smoke another one, man. Yeah. I mean, come on. Really? We're not voting for the prom queen. We're voting for the president. We're not voting for the homecoming queen. We're voting for the president. We're not voting for the head of the PTA. We're voting for the president. This isn't soccer mom shit. This is the president. And I'm getting tired of people acting like it's just, some ASB secretary crap. This is our country. And how do people, we all have beer glasses on? Do we all have our transgender rainbow glasses on and we genuinely can't see what's going on with the world right now and it's not doing well? The facts, these things called facts that people also forget about are proving that it's not going well. And yet they're like, I know, we should vote for the same exact thing again and just hope and cross our fingers and open our legs. We should do more crossing our fingers and just being a bunch of whores. Because that's what we're promoting right now. We're promoting dancing, sexual dancing to minors for money. We're promoting porn in elementary schools. We're promoting cutting off your penises. We're promoting pride parades and what you dance around with your boobs and your penises hanging out. We're promoting sex to have no respect for your body whatsoever. That's what we're promoting right now. It's just a lovely, lovely world. And honestly, France, you're just a piece of garbage. I'm sorry for the people that in it. I'm not claiming that the people in France are garbage. I've been to Paris. There were a handful of nice people there. I realize there's way more cities and a lot more to France than just Paris, but they weren't very nice and it wasn't that great. And the Eiffel Tower is really boring. Didn't do anything for me. I was like, that? Okay, it's really small and what's the big deal? But all right. And yet they think they're cool. And I'm like, really? What makes you cool? Because your government's not cool right now at all. And you can't do anything without the help of other countries. So you're really not that cool. So stop hating on America. If you hate us that much, then win your own battles. Handle your own shit. But if you try to put an American in jail, good luck with that. If Trump is president, if there's a Republican in president. Same with UK, same with Canada, same with Australia. You all have garbage government. Again, not saying the people that live in those countries are garbage. I'm sure the people are lovely. Not dissing on the people. I'm dissing on the government. Just like our government. Again, I am dissing on liberals that are really lefties. I am going to diss on you. If you're a lefty, you need mental help. And you're probably not listening to my podcast. And if you are, well, that's amazing. Great. I still don't take it back, though. I mean it because I've just had it. I believe that people should have different beliefs. I am 100% down with people having different beliefs than myself. But if you're an extreme lefty, you do more than just have your own beliefs. You try to make things mandatory and try to keep people fired and people canceled and make it where people can't pay their bills. Because you try to get them fired because of having a different belief. And I'm not down with that. You burn our American flag and you talk about how much you hate America, yet you still reap every single benefit. And you're usually the ones that aren't working at all and running your mouths the most and are the most rude. And I want nothing more than for you to do exactly what you said you were going to do when Trump won the first time. And yet here you still are. You haven't left the country. And then there's people still saying if Trump wins, then they're going to leave the country. But they're the same people that said it last time and they're still here. Why? Because they know America's amazing. Because they know other people won't allow them to be citizens. You can get a visa. You can't be a citizen because other countries like to hate on us for not just welcoming everybody, even though we do, when their own fucking countries make it incredibly hard to actually live there and be a citizen. Again, you can get visas, but that's not being a citizen. I'm just tired of people hating on America, yet knowing that we're the ones that you go to when your stupid country can't hack it. You don't go to Russia. You don't go to China. You go to America, and then you talk about how much you hate America. And it's really getting on my nerves. Y'all should handle your own shit then. Handle your own business then. Don't come here on vacation then. Don't try to live here then. Don't come here on work visas and mooch off of us and then go back to your shithole country. Stay in your own country then. I'm over it. I happen to love this country. I believe in this country. And again, I'm not saying that if you come here legally, that's amazing. If you come here legally, I welcome you. If you're not talking trash about this country and you're contributing, I think that's amazing. Again, if you're from another country and you're not talking smack about America, or you're aware that we all have issues, including your country, again, I'm not talking about you as citizens. I'm talking about the government, the people running the government and those that believe in the government. If you're in Australia or Canada and you think that your government is doing well, you're crazy pants. And it's those people I wish would form their own little country and leave everybody else alone. Just leave us out of it. Form your own little happy rainbow fucking country and leave everybody else out of it. My actual gay friends and my transgender friends can't stand what's going on right now. The original, the OG gay people, the OG drag queens, the OG transgender people can't stand how the new 2024 LGBTQALMNOP group is. They hate it. They're not into it because it's ridiculous. They act like they paved the way. They act like they're the first people to ever be gay or the first people to ever be trans. Come on. Come on, son. You didn't pave the way. You're not some new, you didn't, form a new frontier and, you're not some hero that just made it all happen. Wasn't you. Sorry. It's been going on for a long fucking time. Men have been sleeping with men and women have been sleeping with women since quite literally we've been in existence. We just didn't have a name for it. Now we just put labels on everything. I know Game of Thrones is not real. I get that. But it was a thing to sleep with everybody. They just kind of had a period in time where people just slept around and it wasn't really a big deal. And even when it was, there was just no label for it. Now we put labels on everything. Just like everybody has to be ADHD and everybody has to be autistic and everybody has to be this. I'm not saying there's not ADHD. I've been diagnosed by 3 different doctors and 2 different counselors, so I'm pretty sure that I am. And my son has autism, been diagnosed by many different psychiatrists and professionals. And so I'm not saying those things don't exist. They do. I'm just saying that everybody likes to put labels on it and they just like to say that they have something just because they think it's an excuse to get away with shit or to get free shit or to behave a certain way. They think it's an excuse to act like an asshole, an excuse not to work, an excuse not to do your homework, an excuse to get free things, So you have to be diagnosed with something. It's just insane. So that's what's been on my mind. Depressing. I'm sorry. Gosh, I've just been full of it and I've been cranky and I've been like yelling and I've been kind of on one lately. I'm sorry. I will try to do nicer, more positive podcasts. I try to mix it up, but again, I can't help how I feel. I said when I did this podcast, it was going to be a journal of how I feel, a journal of things I was going through. I wasn't going to censor myself. I'm not going to edit things. So it is what it is. And again, I want to stress that I don't care if you're trans or gay or Catholic or atheist or a man or from France or from the UK. I love everybody as long as they're not a douchebag and they're not trying to harm other people. They're not doing illegal things. I mean, I love people that do illegal things. Just because you do something illegal doesn't mean you're a bad person. But I just want to stress that it's those countries' policies that I can't stand. And if you're on board with your country's policies, if you live in Canada, Australia, or France, or the UK, or here in America, I do have to say, I think that you need to do your research. You need to actually look up things. Check out full videos. Don't watch just pieced together clips that the media puts on. Actually do your homework. Actually research. Actually listen to the clips that Donald Trump says and not just the little teeny blurps that CNN puts together to make it look really bad. Do your homework. On that note, thank you so much for always tuning in. I will try not to be such a crabby ass, but man, again, when you get older, you care about what's going on in the world because it actually affects you. It affects you. So it gets you fired up when you see our country going to hell and people drag you into their crap all the time. But Anyway, Fremont Experience. If you haven't done it, go do it. And until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful, amazing, fantastic rest of your week. Remember to put one foot in front of the other. Make your bed every day. Don't keep a cluttered house because that usually keeps your mind cluttered. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you like clutter, you just clutter it up if that's what makes you calm. But I hope you find your peace. I hope you find your happy. And until next time.